most people just see oil spills as being a problem of the past.
It's being called the worst oil spill ever in Alaska.
One of America's most magnificent waterways is blackened and befouled tonight by the biggest oil spill in American history.
The last you probably heard of oil spills was the BP oil spill in 2010 in the Gulf of Mexico. But there are countless other oil spills you haven't heard of. These oil spills have occurred in the moderate climate of the United States, where conditions are relatively mild and stable. Environmental regulation and overall stability is much higher in the United States than in other countries around the world, where there are countless other spills causing untold environmental damage.
Whether it be for political reasons, like how during the Gulf War in 1991, over 300 million gallons of oil were intentionally released into the Persian Gulf by Saddam Hussein's forces, or from oil tanker failures, such as the collision between two tankers near the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, leading to over 83 million gallons being spilled.
The world's oceans have been subjected to constant abuse since the first major oil spill in Lakeview Gusher in 1909, which spilled over 1.2 million gallons of oil, and today there are over 3,800 spills, both minor and major, reported by the Washington State Department of Ecology every year. We decided to find out how much the public knew on the subject, so we took to the streets to find out just how much they knew. Name all the oil spills you've heard of in the United States.
Well, the biggest one is the BP oil spill, and I believe there's one in Alaska 10 years ago or so, and I do not know any other ones.
Alright, thanks.
Okay, so I've heard of the BP oil spill and like two others or so. I don't know where those were though.
Alright. Do you know where the BP oil spill was?
I believe it was in the Gulf of Mexico.
It was off the coast of Louisiana.
Is that down Louisiana in that area?
Yeah, down
the Gulf.
Yep.
Yep.
How many gallons of water do you think one drop of oil would contaminate?
I'm not really sure, but 1, 2 gallons.
To discuss the impact of oil on the environment, you should keep in mind that most of the accidents previously outlined have occurred in relatively mild conditions compared to that of the Arctic, and were able to be cleaned up, which would be impossible to do in the Arctic. Furthermore, the impact of the oil spill varies directly on the habitat it occurs in, and the Arctic is very vulnerable. However, that is not to say that other non-Arctic areas could not be greatly impacted as well.
The habitats that are most affected are sandy beaches and mangroves, where fragile environments are destroyed. Sandy beaches, the breeding sites of many endangered species, are destroyed by the oil, and mangroves are damaged by the toxic hydrocarbons of the oil, and or the decrease of oxygen and freshwater supply from the oil cover. Coral reefs, home to a diverse community of organisms, are highly sensitive to oil pollution, and their delicate balance of species living there is dramatically disrupted from the detrimental effects of the oil. Finally, on sandbanks, oil sinks deeper in the sand through the tunnels dug by burrowers and kills organisms in the sediment. The regeneration times for recovery varies amongst different habitats from a few months to over 20 years.
Going back to the Arctic, it is the reason why we did this project. We want to prevent these tragic disasters from polluting the pristine and unique Arctic environment. Environmentalists have been lulled into a false sense of security by the recent announcements of Shell and other major oil companies pulling out of the Chukchi Sea, an Arctic area controlled by the United States. However, these victories were due to the temporary conditions, such as devastatingly low oil prices and stricter environmental regulation, which can easily be loosened through lobbying. More importantly, these conditions are not prevalent worldwide, and oil-dependent countries such as Russia and Norway are already beginning Arctic exploration. In order to save this beautiful environment, we hope to raise awareness in this video, because once the damage is done, the Arctic's beauty, which has prevailed for thousands of years, will be extinguished. Well, at this point, I hope you're wondering if there's anything you can do to help stop these atrocities. To answer your question, you can become active in the political process and join the over 7 million people who have signed the petition at SaveTheArctic.org. Also, while reducing your electrical consumption or switching to green energy would do almost nothing to decrease your oil consumption because most energy is produced by coal, there are some things you can do. Reduce your consumption of plastic, as oil is used to make plastics, and also wear cotton instead of synthetic clothing, which comes from an oil derivative. By decreasing the demand, you can make it less cost-effective for risky oil drilling practices. Furthermore, try to reduce your use of automobiles, which run on oil, and definitely avoid plane travel whenever possible. If you want to make your impact even greater, encourage others to do the same by educating them on the dangers of oil in the oceans and what they can do to help. Thank you for listening and hopefully for helping to preserve the environment for generations to come.